Good morning everybody. So we are back with another video of Codeforces round 673 of division 2. In this video we'll be solving problem C, K amazing numbers. In this video we are given n integers numbered from 1 to n and every number is in the range of 1 to n, and we have to find the k amazing number for all k from 1 to n. So what is a k amazing number? A k amazing number is the smallest number that is repeating in all subarrays of size k. So suppose we have three numbers 1, 2, 3 in, let's say, all subarrays of size 3, and a is the smallest number, so we have to output a for that k, and we have to find k amazing numbers for all k's from 1 to n. So let's see an example. For example, 131531. So let's have this example: 1 3 1 5 3 and 1. So we have subarrays of size 1 as these subarrays, and we don't have any common elements, so we can say that there is no k amazing number for size 1, so we'll output -1 for that. For size 2 we have these subarrays, and we don't have a common number in subarrays of size 2 as well, because here we do not have 1. So for 2 it is -1. And now let's see for size 3. What are the subarrays of size 3? These are the subarrays of size 3. And this one, and the final one is this one. So we have 1 in this subarray, 1 in this subarray, 1 in this one, and 1 in this one. And we also have 3 in these subarrays. So we have 3 here, 3 in this subarray, 3 in this one, and 3 in the last one as well. So we have 1 and 3 in all the subarrays of size 3, but 1 is the smaller one, so we'll output 1 for 3. And similarly for 4 we have 1, and for all the sizes greater than 3 we'll be having 1, because if we have found 1 in the smaller subarrays, it will always be present in all the subarrays of size greater than 3. So yeah, but here is a catch. Suppose the answer was 3, we could have 1 as a candidate for subarrays of size greater than 3. So we since 1 is the smallest possible, we'll be outputting 1 in all these. So let's see what is the answer. So yeah, -1, -1, and +1 for all the greater ones. So what are the things we can observe from this fact? So first thing that we observed was that if we have found an answer for k, and let's suppose the answer is a, for all sizes greater than k, the answer is going to be less than or equal to a. It will not be greater than a. It is always going to be less than or equal to a. And let's see what are the other observations. So second observation is that suppose we have to calculate the answer for k equals to 1. So for k equals to 1, all the elements must be same. Whatever it is, the value is going to be that value. So suppose we had 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 and 3, we do not have answer for k equals to 1. But if we had 2, 2, 2, 2 and 2 and 2, the answer would be 1. So we need to have all the elements as 2 for k equals to 1. For k equals to 2, we need to have all the alternative elements as same. So if we have 1 here, we need to have 1 at this place. If we do not have 1 at this place, 1 cannot be the answer. Similarly, if 1 is not the answer and we are having 2 here, we need 2 at this place. Alright, or what we can have is, if we do not have a 2 here, we need to have a 2 here, and then we need to have a 2 here. So the nearest element should be at most 2 places away. So yeah, so if we have occurrences of I as I, J, K, L, M and N and so on, at these indices an element X occurs, then the X can be a part of K equals to J minus I or K minus J. I mean the maximum of all the differences, all the consecutive differences. So suppose the first occurrence of 3 is here. So first occurrence of 3 is at I equals to 1. So 3 cannot be the answer for K equals to 1, right? It can be for it. We can consider it for all the for greater than equal to 1, because 3 is occurring at index 1, and since it has not appeared before, the answer should be minimum. It should be minimum K equals to 2 for 3 to consider. So we can consider 3 only for K equals to 2 right now. And suppose 3 appears here again. So 3 is appearing after 1, 2, after 2 other elements. So we cannot now consider 3 for 2 as well, because if we had to consider 3 for 2, we need 3 here. We should have 3 here, right? Or we need to have 3 here. So to consider 3 for any K, the difference between consecutive appearances should be less than equal to K, right? So I think I've made this point clear, and if you do not understand this observation, please pay attention to it again, because I'm trying to explain it again. So suppose 3 appears at position I and then it appears at position J. So we can consider 3 only for K equals to I plus 1 or J minus I or K minus J, because it is the difference between the consecutive appearances of 3, and if we have 3 appearing at this many difference, so we have a window of size this much, and the next window is going to start from this, right? And let's assume 3 appears at position -1 and 3 appears at position N as well. So we'll be using this observation to calculate the candidates for each K. So what we can do is, we can have the occurrences of each element from 1 to N, and suppose 1 appears at position I, J, K and L, then we'll be calculating the candidate for 1. So we have to calculate the least possible candidate for 1. And what is this? It is maximum of these positions. So what are these positions? These positions are positions of I and the difference between consecutive positions. So we have maximum of consecutive difference of position I, let's say 1, because we are calculating for 1. Similarly, we can calculate for 2 and so on for till n. Now we have values for each k. We have values for each k. Suppose we can have k from 1, 3 and let's say 8. What should be the answer for this particular k? The answer should be 1, because we have to calculate the minimum one. And back to the first observation, we declared that if we have calculated till k and the answer is, let's say 3, then we'll be having no k greater than this k, that the answer is greater than this 3. So we have to maintain the minimum as well. So because it is always going to be a non-increasing sequence like this, it will always decrease or remain the same. So let's see the code now. So what we are doing here is we are calculating all the positions of the elements. Let me increase the size and hide the terminal. So we are actually saving all the positions of all the elements, and now we are appending n at the end, because we are assuming that it occurs at the after the last position as well, because we need to consider the last window as well. So after that, we have calculated the minimum k which we can have from each I. So this is the minimum k which we can have. Let's write here. So it is calculating the minimum k we can use this I for. Okay, and then we just have to find the minimum for all these. How we are doing it? So there are multiple ways to do after this point. So what we are doing is, for each k we are having all the candidates and we are printing the minimum one, and if the candidate appears to be greater than the previous one, we are printing the last one, so that the sequence is always non-increasing. So we are just printing the minimum candidate. So suppose we have a bunch of candidates for us for a k, as seen here. We are printing the minimum one. So we are maintaining the candidates in a set, and then we are printing the smallest one. We could do it more efficiently, but that is always n log n, so that must not be a problem. So I hope you liked this video. Please share, like, and consider subscribing our channel. See you in the next one. Thank you.